So past lives. So this is a movie that's been on my radar for months now. I've heard a lot of buzz about it. I believe they showed it. It was either Sundance or Cannes. I'm not sure. Cannes, however you want to pronounce it. Um, wherever you are from in the
Pronounce it like
country.
cans, damn it.
Cannes,
Where I drink my
you
beer that
know,
I like.
I
Yep.
drink my beer in cans when I was in Cannes. Um, but word of mouth and what I've been reading is that this movie is something to look out for. It's going to probably be one of the best of the year. Again, A24. If you know us by now, we are
You
A24
know.
stands. We
Yeah.
we bleed by the altar that is A24, and anything A24 does, we are usually 100% behind it.
I have my
So
A24 socks, but I'm not showing my feet because that's all paywalled. So
that
go over
is,
to
yes,
onlyfans.com/Blake feet.
Blake
And
feet.
don't actually go there. I don't know what's there. Never mind. Don't
That
put
might
that
be a
in.
whole different
But
other thing that you're bringing people
yeah,
to.
never mind, never mind. But yeah, I definitely do have A24 socks that you will not be seeing. I do want to hear. I'm a little nervous going into this movie. How devastating is it?
Sure.
I don't want you to. I don't want you to say anything with even how it ends or like, oh, it
Yeah,
ends
yeah, yeah.
this way, but it starts this, like nothing. Not even that deep. But
No,
like, how would you recommend it to someone? Would you recommend it to everyone? Would you be like, hey, maybe just bring some tissues? Like, what are we talking? Because
sure.
it looks pretty real.
Yeah,
Like maybe the most devastating movie ever, or maybe just like a little lighthearted romance. I honestly can't tell.
yeah. Lighthearted, this is not. I'll say that right now.
Okay.
It's definitely not
Okay.
lighthearted one bit. What you said about it being real, I felt like this was a very personal movie. Like it felt completely real. I feel like if you polled 10 people on the street, 9 out of 10 probably can relate to this movie. Um,
Wow.
if you've ever been in a failed long distance relationship, if you ever had a situation where unrealized love took place, this will this will gut you by the end of the movie. Um, I was gutted when this movie ended. It's one of those types of films where I like a good romance every now and then, but I'm not a fan of those like rom-coms or those fluffy romance movies that we tend to get these days. Like I like movies that challenge realness and challenge people, challenge real experiences. And I do feel like this is a movie that was written either by real experience or by observation, because this is a movie that I think anyone can relate to, especially with the situations that I've described. The acting was brilliant all throughout. Greta Lee, huge shout out to her because she was phenomenal in this film. I can also see how a lot of people will not like her character too. And again, I won't describe why that is, but I have to also say, for a first time director of Celine Song, this being her first movie, brilliant job. I mean, a phenomenal job. I can't wait to see what else she has in store for us, the movie viewing audience, because being able to tell such a heartfelt personal story using New York City as a nice backdrop to all that, I think that was a brilliant choice, and it just felt right, and it felt really good. It was very moving. Like I said, I felt gutted at the end of it. That being said, I cried 3 times in this movie. There are two moments that happened throughout the movie, and then when the ending happened, it wasn't that immediate thing, but then something happened, and then bam, got me. It's like it's as if someone was in the aisle waiting for that moment, walked over to my seat and decided to punch me right in the face. And then that's when I started bawling for sure. Yeah, so that's it. But yeah, I highly recommend this movie, especially if you're a romantic at heart, and primarily if you've experienced any one of those things I mentioned before, then this is a movie
No,
that's
not
definitely
me.
gonna tug on your
No,
heartstrings for
no,
sure.
no. Love is easy and never hurts ever. So yeah, maybe I'll skip it. We'll see.
Yeah, I definitely I will say this: if you are in a mood, if you are like in like a depressed mood, or if you're having a bad day, do not watch this movie. Please
Or
do
do what I
yourself
do
a
and go
favor.
purge it at the theater, weep your eyes out, and be like, "Oh, I can survive it." Like, I'm not even entirely kidding. There's times where I will outsource my emotions to movies, and
Yeah.
then it's there on the screen and not in me. And then like the credits roll. Trust me, stay through the end of the credits and then go like, and then that way you processed it in a
Yeah.
safe space and not staring at a wall in your home, rocking yourself to sleep. Not that that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Just saying,
No.
if you are someone who has ever experienced sadness, then maybe
Yeah.
that's an option for you.
I stay through credits usually for the respect of the makers and all that. This is one of those moments where I stayed through the credits also, and it helped me recuperate because
Yeah.
it was just one of those things. Now, there was only one showing yesterday at the theater I went to. It was a nighttime showing. That's why I couldn't do the opposite, because that's really what I was hoping to do.
Yep.
Um, I counted 10 other people in the theater with me. Not a dry eye walking out. Like I heard the sniffling, I saw like the tissue and all that stuff like that. Not a dry eye. So again, get ready if you're planning to watch this movie for sure. It is definitely going to be one of those. Hey, no, I'm not Ryan Reynolds, but I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with the Mint Mobile ads that he puts out there, whether it's on TV, YouTube, social media, or what have you. And I'm sure a lot of you are very, wondering and very skeptical that how good is Mint Mobile? Is it really worth all the hype and all the, huge discounts every month and all the promotions and stuff like that? Well, I was very much like you. And late last year, I decided to take the plunge and try it out myself because I was honestly tired of paying so much money every month on my cell phone bill. I was a huge long term Verizon customer, and I was paying $80 a month on my cell phone bill, which is ridiculous. Even given the fact that I'm not really working a regular job like I used to, so saving money is important to me. But of course, I don't want to sacrifice quality in my cell service, especially when it comes to data and all that. So I decided to give it a shot, and I have to say I am extremely pleased with the service I'm getting. I haven't noticed any drop in quality. And, for what I'm paying, I feel like I'm definitely getting more bang for my buck. And I want to be able to share that experience with you so that if you're in the same boat as I was, maybe it's time for you to give it a shot yourself. And right now, they have this amazing offer where you can sign up for them and you will be able to get 3 months unlimited data for $15 a month for your first 3 months. I mean, that is an insane discount. And I highly recommend you check it out and try it for yourself if you're looking for a change. Switching over from your cell, service is not going to be difficult. I did it it didn't take long at all to do it. As soon as I got the kit and my SIM card in the mail, I was able to switch it out and bing, bang, boom, all said and done. If you're looking for a new phone and you're happening to maybe eyeing one of those new Google Pixel phones, they have a special offer where you could save $200 on a brand new phone and receive 6 months of free service when you purchase a device and 6 months of service. So right now, I think is a good time more than any to give this a shot for yourself. So check out the link I have especially provided for you in the description of this video, this episode here, and give Mint Mobile a shot. And if you do, let me know what you think about it, because I was, again, pleasantly surprised and very happy with how everything turned out. But I think overall, I'm just happy to be saving a lot of money every month on my cell phone bill. And I think you'll be happy too. So, Mint Mobile, check out the link in the description. And thanks for checking them out. Thanks, Mint Mobile. You just saw it recently, and that is Past Lives. So, we quickly talked about Past Lives in a previous episode because I had a chance to see it. You did not. And I mentioned, how gut wrenching it was for me, especially at the end. This was one of those movies that I gave it a lower rating, but it's a movie that's stuck in my head ever since I saw it. And after analyzing it in my head, after a week or two, I went back and I increased my rating on the movie because of how impactful it was to me after the fact. And I haven't been seeing a lot of critics' top 10 list of the year so far, whatever the case is. But I did get hit with some on Twitter recently because I think everyone is doing that right now because we are in July. So I feel like that's the trend happening.
Yeah.
Hence why we're doing it too. But it's something that I actually just thought about. Um, a lot of people have included this in their top 10 list so far of the year. So I realize that I'm not surprised by that. But I'm curious as to, because you just saw it recently, what your thoughts on, just quick thoughts on the movie itself and how it may have affected your list of 2023.
Sure. So what's funny is you're talking about reassessing the movie,
Yeah,
and I was literally doing that while you were talking, and I was like, "Wait, why did I want to leave it?" Because what we talked about was I want to make sure one of us is including it.
right.
I was asking you, "Are you including it in yours?" Because I looked at my list, I was like, "I can't leave any of these off." And I thought past lives more recent, maybe. And I
Mm-hmm.
was going to go off. Now it's back on my list for the record. So if you want to talk about it at
Ah,
that point, we can. I'll have it kind of near lower to the because of recency bias. And
yeah.
but while you were talking about it, I was thinking through it. I was feeling it again. I was like, I checked my Letterboxd score, 5 out of 5 stars. For whatever reason, I was kind of like downplaying it in my
Mm-hmm.
memory. I don't love the more drama, gut wrenching, but there was something really beautiful and subtle about it that you're
Yeah.
right is impacting me on when I'm looking back at it
Yeah.
more than it did in the theater. And apparently in the theater, I gave it 5 out of 5 stars after that experience. So it's back on the list, and I'm gonna have to drop something. It'll be tough.
Well, we'll give you some time to readjust your list and all that.
Thank
But
you. Thank you.
for that particular movie, for Past Lives, I did give it a 4 initially. And then I again, after a week or two of me just constantly thinking about it and reanalyzing the impact it left in my mind, I went back and I had to increase it to 5 because it's just one of those movies that, yeah, it was subtle, brilliantly done, but just I guess the impact on the subject matter alone really got me. And I keep thinking back again to how the movie ended and that last scene. Now that you've seen it, we can just quickly talk about it. How they're finally saying their goodbyes, and it was just like, oh, if it was another life, maybe things would have been different. And they kind of just like shrug it off and leave it that way. And as she's doing her, walk back to the apartment, you think, oh, she's in a place where she can just let it go and everything's okay. And then the minute she sees her husband, bam, she breaks down. And I was just like, what? Like, you're gonna do that to me right now? And but
Yeah.
that's the feeling that I had. It's like, how can you be okay with that?
Hmm.
And you realize that, she wasn't. And it just all flooded out. And to end the movie that way, I just thought was so gut wrenching. Yeah, so that particular scene has stayed in my mind like this whole time, and because of that, I had to reanalyze and reevaluate my feeling of the movie.
I want to see more people do a pairing of movies that are tonally opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying it's just because of the Asian thing, but like the fact that it was mainly Asian cast, or I guess with Past Lives, it's 2 of the 3 main actors,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But it is an Asian storyline. But I want to see a pairing with Joyride and Past Lives because we've got woman moves to America at very young age
Yeah.
and is encountering destiny and what she's supposed to be doing with her life, and has she been wasting her time, and questions like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that that's even though tonally, like one I laughed the whole time, the other one I cried the whole time.
Right. Right.
But I enjoyed that aspect of both movies. I think Past Lives, it is one of those. Someone asked me, like, what did it say to you? Like, did it speak to you where you're at in life, relationships,
Mm-hmm.
what you think about love? And for me, it was essentially it was more Rorschach than that. It's essentially whatever you're bringing to the movie.
Sure.
And there's not. It's difficult for movies to do this, but if you're dealing with heartbreak, love, you've divorced, you're in love with your wife, whatever version of it might be, it can speak to that because it's asking the question essentially of, do we believe in love as destiny? Do we believe in love as I make this choice and this daily commitment?
Hmm.
And these are questions that people ask when they're making relationship decisions of, oh, I'm inspired by this person. Should I cheat? Should I leave my husband to be with the person who has my passion right now? Should you be passionately in love with your spouse every day for the rest of your life, or is it more of a grind than that?
Yeah.
And I think at the end of the day, it's not really making a case one way or the other. It's not the movie where everyone's going to leave with the same conclusion. It's just kind of
Right.
saying like these are all options. And I do think, and maybe this is my bias, I do think that the movie, some folks, someone I was talking to was acting like, what's it called, onion? The word that they're using for the Korean
Oh, the
concept.
Korean concept of what was it?
It's essentially something related to reincarnation, where you've met someone in a
Right.
past life and you have
Right.
experiences with them.
Yeah.
And if it's your spouse, then you have, I think it was 8,000 layers or levels of it. Um, and the person was acting like the movie believes in that concept, and I'm not sure that that's true. It is a concept that the movie is dealing with, and in a way, that is a like they are dealing with it as if it's something that they believe in. But then there's other
Hmm.
times during the movie where they're saying, "Yeah, it's just a thing that somebody says to seduce somebody else,"
Yeah.
or they're playing with it like, "Well, what do you think the past lives would have been?" And that was one of my favorite scenes. Is in the bar, the
Oh
husband is
yeah.
there,
Yep.
can't understand that the language that the other two characters are speaking, and he's just sitting there, and it was kind of tense and kind of beautiful and funny and tragic all at
Yeah.
the same
Oh
time.
yeah.
So they're saying, okay, I would have been a bird and you would have been the tree branch that I rested on before leaving.
Hmm.
It was very poetic.
Yeah.
Another one is that I would have been the queen and you would have been one of my servants, and we would have had an affair, and then you would have been beheaded or something like that.
Hmm.
um, and then there were some more romantic versions of it. It was interesting, but then yeah, with the way it leaves so ambiguously of, well, what do you think will be in our next life? And she said, I don't know, and then cries to her husband. Like that whole movie, the thesis is like right there. All of
Yeah.
those interactions,
Yeah.
it's so dense and charged. I really thought it was incredibly successful at doing that. So I'm excited to when we go through our lists of movie rankings to have that one in there now that I look back on it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, I think now that you've seen it, and they do reference it in the movie, the best way to describe the impact of this movie and describe how what would you compare it to, the fact that they mention Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is
Hmm.
brilliant because it is almost the same type of impact that I felt
Yeah.
with when I saw that movie. So it is kind of brilliant in its own way that they kind of referenced it in the movie itself. But it is what you say. It is one of those perfect examples of everyone will take away something different from the movie because of what they've experienced themselves. And again, it speaks very well of just how cinema is in general, where it's like everyone's going to react to a movie very differently. You know, not everyone is. We're not a hive mind where one person thinks one thing and they were like, "Oh yeah, we all feel the same way about that." Like it's that's just not how it works. But you know, you could have easily have gone away and taken a different feeling of this movie than I have. You know, it's very possible. And maybe to a certain point that is true too. But I think overall, we both agree about the same sentiments within this movie, and just yes, it's very poetic, but it's also very heartbreaking when you see certain moments. Like again, that bar scene. I love the fact that the movie started with that bar scene and how you had a point of view from a different couple looking at these guys talking to each other, with the husband just sitting there looking very like lost and abandoned, while the other two are in deep conversation. And you have an opinion from another party of what's the story behind these people? What do you think they're talking about? What do you think they are, those two a couple, or is the other two a couple, or are they just friends? And the way that um, the main actress just kind of just looks over and stares into the camera and kind of just like invites you, well, here's the story. bam, and then we just go into it like that. It's just so brilliant how they did it, and then we get to live out the moment in the bar and see exactly what they were talking about and all that. And yeah, it was not only beautiful, but thinking of Homeboy sitting over there being cockholded, it's just like it's like, oh my god,
Conversationally cuckolded. Let's be
conversationally,
clear.
yeah,
He wasn't actually,
yeah, conversationally.
watching, okay.
Yeah, but still, I mean, I've been in situations like that, you know, and it's not fun. But you know, again, it's all based on experience, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see now that you've reevaluated stuff and now that you've re-included it in on your list. It'll be interesting to see where all that plays out. Hey everyone, just a quick message here that this episode is brought to you by a new shop that I just launched. That's right, popculture.shop is a new merch shop where you can not only find Low-Key Geek and eventually MovieTime merchandise, but you will find merchandise dedicated to some of the biggest things in pop culture at the moment. Whether it's movies, TV, video games, memes, or anything of the like, you'll find some of the homages to some of the biggest things that are happening currently at the time. You also eventually will find some cool retro throwbacks in here and there. The shop just launched, so bear with me. I'm filling in the inventory, but you'll find new stuff dropping every week. But to help celebrate the launch of this brand new merch shop, I'm giving all of you, the listeners, subscribers here at the Low-Key Geek channel, a nice little discount to check it out. So if you use the code LOWKEYGEEK at checkout, you'll get yourself a nice little 15% discount. So definitely check it out. This is another great way to help support the channel and show your love and support for everything that we do here. But it's also a brand new venture of my own, you know, just going out into the retail market. So any support that you could throw our way would be greatly appreciated. So once again, that is Pop Couture, popculture.shop, popculture.shop, a shop for geeks who are chic.
For full audio episodes of the MovieTime podcast, make sure to follow and subscribe to the Low-Key Geek channel on your favorite podcast platform. New episodes are uploaded every week.